I found the devil.
The devil?
I found him.
Really? Is this him?
No.
In this wheelchair?
No. He's over here in this bucket. I kid you not. There he is. Mr. Sin!
Oh my
Not
goodness.
bothering us anymore.
And I remember her saying, okay, you're going to play Mr. Sin today. And she hands me this purple puppet with a nasty mustache. Pop little puppet up, and literally on cue, 80 kids out there all, boo, no, yuck, I hate that guy. I was like, man, these guys are trained on cue. Like, I don't know if they got candy for doing that or what. But
oh, man, they just want to come down on someone.
Theological teaching. Deep theological teaching.
Well.
Hey everyone, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Chris. I'll be hosting this like normal. I'm here with Prudence.
Hello.
This is our second take. So we're like, what do we say now? And we're here with Beth, not Bethany, Beth Learn. Mm-hmm. And she is the founder and CEO of a fitness company called Fit2B Studio. And we are also co-founders with her. And we've been doing this for 3,412 years. Internet
That's
years.
what it feels like.
It's like dog years, but it's internet years. No, actually, I'm super excited about this episode because we're going to talk at a high level about fitness. And I feel like fitness gets overlooked a lot, a ton. Beth is a certified fitness instructor. She's also leads all kinds of different kinds of fitness groups. She also does consulting. She helps people in all walks of life. Really, the Fit2B Studio site specializes on helping women really build their bodies back. And it's amazing. We'll put links to those resources. You should check it out. But before we dig into all of this, Beth, you may not know this, but we have to start this with trivia.
Yep. What?
Yep. Trivia. Yep.
What?
Now, Prudence has scored 100% on every trivia question I've ever asked.
This joke is getting very dry. It's not true.
Actually, she has got some of the trivia questions right, but not very many. Let's be real.
I have gotten a few right.
Yes. You got, where were fortune cookies made?
Mm-hmm.
Beth, do you know where fortune cookies were invented? Not made, invented.
San Francisco.
Did you know that? Or did you make that up? That's 100% dead on right, correct. Okay, Prudence, you have got your match here.
Okay.
Because
Is there trivia music?
Beth, the founder of Fit2B Studio, is about to smoke you at trivia. Get ready.
Nah.
Okay, let's do the first one, all right? You guys, we'll start off with the really easy one.
Okay.
What can't a cheetah do that a tiger and a puma can do? So cheetahs can't, tigers and pumas can. What can't? Don't cheat. No, looking at my screen. Beth, you go first. She's like lost in thought.
Cheetah. Tiger.
Swim.
Swim. Okay, swim. Good. Good.
Yes.
Good answer, I mean. Prudence. Don't let me down.
They
It might
can't
be swim.
like.
Beth might be right. Might be swim.
I'm thinking too
It
hard
might not
about
be swim.
this.
You're making this way too hard. This is supposed to be funny and humorous trivia that you're not
Okay,
supposed
all right. I'm totally overthinking this.
Yes, what is it? Cheetahs can't do it. Tigers and pumas can. Also, house cats can. You're really just come up with something.
Climb a tree.
Climb a tree. Retract its claws.
That was really close.
So wait, so climb a tree would be, they wouldn't be able to climb a tree if they can't. Oh wait, no, cheetahs can't retract their claws, so their claws are always out.
Yeah.
How do they scratch their itch if they can't?
I think they bite fleas.
Okay, let's move on. All right.
I'm a little disappointed that your trivia questions aren't about fitness.
Okay, let me try this. This is kind of fitness-like.
Oh.
Who said, "I'm the president of the United States and I am not going to eat any more broccoli"? Which president said that once they got in office?
Eisenhower?
Andrew Jackson.
George Bush. Now, what they don't say here is which George Bush. So, don't know.
Like
George Bush apparently doesn't like broccoli. I'm with George. Okay, next one. This is not fitness related, really.
Oh.
No, it's not. In Minnesota, it is illegal to be what in bed?
In bed?
In bed, you can't be this.
Smelly.
It's illegal to be smelly in bed in Minnesota.
It's illegal to be exercising in bed.
Exercising in bed. No, it is illegal to be naked in bed in Minnesota.
What?
I'm not sure how they're going to enforce
my first
that.
thought.
How
I'm
are they
like,
going to enforce
what?
that? Oh my goodness.
Excuse me, we heard there was a report.
Is this like to cut down on insurance costs for hypothermia because it gets so colder?
I think it has nothing to do with hypothermia.
Just
a guess.
Why would somebody be inventing this rule?
Yeah, that's not what it is. Okay, one or two more. How long is New Zealand's 90-mile beach? How long is the 90-mile beach? This kind of leads you to realize it's not 90 miles. But how long is it?
90.4 miles.
90.4, excellent answer. Prudence?
9 miles.
9 miles. Also, you guys are both 100% right. It's actually 55. 55 miles. That's fitness related because somebody for sure ran that beach. That's fitness related.
So why was it called 90 Mile Beach if it's only 55? Was it 90 miles at some
We don't
point?
get any answers, Bethany. It's just, it's
No.
literally...
There's no rhyme to the reason. I do want to end on a what I'm going to consider a definite fitness-related trivia question.
Okay.
Yes.
So last one. So, so Beth, not Bethany, Beth, the CEO and founder of Fit2B Studio. We'll start with you. What is the longest English word with only one vowel?
You said it's fitness related?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big, enormous hint.
So is this a body part or like an exercise?
I'm not giving you any more hints.
Certainly you must be able to give us that.
0 more hints. Prudence is always trying to change. Okay, let me say it again. What is the longest English word with
I'm
only
trying to think
one
of all the fitness
vowel?
words I know.
Did you say cuss words?
No, fitness
Oh,
words.
fitness words. Yes, it's a fitness word.
No.
Come on, Prudence.
I'm thinking, but you know,
The longest English word.
A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y. It only has one of those. The longest
Wow.
English, it's an English word.
That has only one vowel.
Only
and
one
it
vowel.
also happens to be an exercise
Yes.
word.
Now,
I got it.
What is it?
Blink.
Blinking is not exercise.
Blink. It's totally a
Beth,
workout
you need
for
a new
your eyeball.
workout. It's the blink workout. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Double time.
Blink.
Oh my
Buddy.
goodness. That is absolutely not the correct answer.
Oh.
Any last guesses? We definitely need to move on.
I know. I'm thinking of exercise words that have one vowel. Stuff like lift and walk.
Yes, but
those are
longest.
not long.
They're not long. They're not long. See, Beth also is a writer. She also has some kind of like. Did you have like some kind of
Yeah,
part
I
of
have
your
a degree.
degree is writing? So you have a fitness degree and some kind of like English stuff. Like, I'm really disappointed, to be honest.
All right.
Strengths.
Strength.
Strengths.
Strengths. They had to get that S in there.
Yep, that makes it one character longer.
Oh, brother.
Strengths. Only one vowel.
Ugh.
Fitness related.
I
This
love that.
trivia
That is-
stuff
that's
is discouraging.
Excellent trivia.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Strengths.
crazy. So, because you guys both scored 100% again,
He
you got
just
everything
wants
right.
to push the button. That's it.
Yes. No, that I am the
will
button.
manage it.
Air 5.
There.
Honestly, it's fake news. It's fake.
All right, let's actually get into something that matters, which is fitness. And I'm pretty excited for this particular episode because I do feel like fitness is overlooked. I don't know why that is, but it is overlooked. And I feel like it's overlooked in the church more than the world. Now, maybe that's because, I don't know, bikini bodies or something. But it is overlooked for sure. Would you agree, Prudence?
Are you speaking of overlooked within church world?
It's overlooked in general, especially in Western culture. Just look at the numbers and stats. But I feel like in the church, it's overlooked even more. And I think I want to dig into, kind of discussing why it's important. I don't necessarily, we can take our guesses at why it's overlooked, but
have
I
a
think we
theory
want to
on
talk about
that.
why it's important for sure. But
Yeah.
before we do that, I think, Beth, maybe just lay a foundation for us. Your background, Fit2B, why it was started in the first place, why you wanted to do it, what is it? Take a couple minutes and let us know
Okay.
what you've been doing for the last 12 years.
Should I talk to them or to you?
You can talk to us.
Talk to you.
If you want to talk to them, like you want to say something powerful and convicting, the camera being run by your son, Seth, is the one you want to look at.
That is so crazy to me.
Yes.
Yes. Our children have grown up on the set.
Weird. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I got certified to teach step aerobics when I was 18 years old. 2 years before that, I showed up to my first step class in a dress. That's how little I knew about what was even involved in group fitness or step or anything.
And how did that go?
I got a little tangled up because it was kind of a long dress.
Did you ever step on the dress and tear it?
It wasn't that long,
Okay.
but it definitely got in the way.
Got it. It was long enough to be cumbersome.
Yes.
Got it.
Right? So I instantly fell in love with step aerobics and the rhythm and moving to a rhythm. And I kept taking that class in high school and got certified when I was 18 and went to Oregon State University to get my degree in political science because I had taken a lot of journalism and I indeed stayed with journalism through college quite a bit. But then I decided I liked fitness even more. So
Wow.
OSU was one of the top 5 schools in the nation at the time for the exercise and sports science degree. So I began pursuing that. I found out the other day that it's a 6-year degree now.
Oh, wow.
The same one that I got now takes 6 years to complete. I'm not sure why.
Maybe they're finally talking about dioceses.
Maybe because they want to charge more.
That seems excessive.
But I mean, I learned a lot. Maybe they are teaching more, which would be great because I feel like I could have learned even more. They definitely didn't teach about the postpartum body. There was this kind of understanding that women's bodies are a lot like men's bodies and, they're human bodies. You train them all the same. But when I had children, I discovered that was really not the case.
Yeah, for real.
Especially postpartum women have very different bodies than men. I almost said postpartum men, but
Hey, things are different nowadays.
yeah, that's probably up for debate in some circles.
Example of, as you say, fake news.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really went down the rabbit hole after having kids of looking at what does it take to recover a postpartum body? What does it take to get my body back on track and to live in this body that's been drastically changed by carrying children? And I learned a lot more. I began mentoring with people like Kelly from the Tummy Team and discovered that there's a lot of professionals out there that don't know very much about postpartum bodies.
Yeah.
And there are also even more people out there who have had children who do not understand things about what it means to be postpartum. And
Right.
one of the facts is that postpartum is forever.
Right.
So once you've had a child, even if you're only pregnant for a little while,
Mhm.
there are things that will be forever altered in your body.
So before you had children, you didn't think of it that way.
No.
It just was like this
No.
period for a couple months right
Mhm.
after, right?
Yeah, and there's this big mentality of you're going to bounce back. You're going to get your body back. You're going to,
Be normal again.
yeah,
So
go to the boot camp and it'll all be fine. But that's just not the case.
Yeah.
So for example, a woman's rib cage expands by 2/3 more. I mean, her blood volume increases. I think it's like by 150%.
Wow.
Probably even more.
So the rib cage expands 2/3 and then it doesn't go all the way back to where it was ever again, right?
It does go back some, but it doesn't go all the way back. And the hips, we know that the hips widen and those don't ever go fully back. And then you have things that can happen like birth trauma, cesarean sections, all kinds of situations
Yeah.
that will dramatically affect that body
Right.
for the rest of that person's life.
Right.
So knowing how to train that body is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because there's also a woman attached to that body who is raising a child and is very, very tired and very, very
Right. Like life doesn't
Overwhelmed.
stop so that
Mhm.
she can
right.
get back, right?
Mhm. So I have, became very passionate about helping women like myself to be served better and to know how to move better and in ways that wouldn't hurt them. Because a lot of the mainstream fitness world says, oh, you just do crunches, just do sit-ups, that'll help your core. Or don't do any core exercises after you've had your kid, because there's all these really extreme messaging to one side or the other. And women are trying to figure out what it all means, and they end up signing up for a boot camp that hurts them, or they end up doing nothing. So,
and then when they have trouble, they feel like they're the only one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we know that a third of female athletes who have never even had children are dealing with incontinence and issues with their core. We know that 100% of women after having children have a level of diastases, which is that thinning and widening of the tissues in the abs that looks and feels like a separation in the abdominal wall. We know that about 70% of women after having kids deal with incontinence. And the thing is, all of this is treatable, but a lot of women think that it's just them.
Right. Even though you said 70%, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or they think because everybody else has it, it's normal. Mm-hmm. And we even get told that. Right? I'm sure you've heard that.
Or they
it's just normal.
Go to a doctor to help them fix it, and the doctors don't really know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or, they have pain during intimacy. There's all kinds of things that filter out from this. And they get told, just have a glass of wine and relax. Or just keep trying, it'll get better. And that's not the case, and it is treatable. There are thousands, if not millions, of specialists that exist, people, myself, and people that are even more highly trained, like physical therapists, to help women really reconnect to their core after this. And so that's really my heart, is helping women exercise in ways that make them feel better in their own skin and walk more confidently and age gracefully, because we don't have to have babies and fall apart. That'd be a bad design.
Yeah.
God, if that was God's design, to have 1 or 2 kids and completely fall apart and not be able to have more kids because our bodies are completely shot, we never would have made it out of the Old Testament.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. All right. So you're setting the stage for enormous amounts of knowledge that you've accumulated through the years. But back then, you went to your first step class.
And I wore a dress.
And you wore a dress. And you came back again.
I did.
So you didn't give up?
Okay. So then what happened?
After I wore a dress and came back?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I loved it a lot. And then I talked my parents into getting a membership at the local athletic club. Mm-hmm. So we started going to Cascade Athletic Club in Portland, Oregon. And then I liked that so much, I decided to try to get a job there. So I did, and I worked in the kids club, and then I started working at the front desk, and I just really loved the atmosphere of people improving themselves and getting stronger. And that business was founded by Christian people. And so there was also this really amazing, amazing work ethic there, and really amazing staff support, and just a solid, healthy, positive environment. And then I decided, I think I'll get certified to teach group fitness. So I went through the Aerobics and Fitness Association of America when I was 18 and got certified. And I used that to put myself through college. And I taught up to 14 different group fitness classes a week.
Oh my goodness.
While I was in college.
That's almost like filming 6 or 7 workouts and then doing a Together We Build episode immediately.
It is. It's a little tiring. I sleep good at night.
I bet. Wow.
We just did that, by the way. We just did that.
Okay. So then you put yourself through college, and then how did you get started? Let's talk about how you got started with just the online portion. Like, that was an idea that you had, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I'm going to back it up a tiny bit more, because this was pretty pivotal. After college, I got hired to work as the assistant manager at a federal fitness facility. So unbeknownst to many people, a lot of federal buildings have workout facilities that are contracted out and run by people that are professionals like myself. And so I did that for 4 years. Then I had my daughter, and I decided to be done with that and just teach classes on the side. So I stayed home with her. And my husband is a mechanic, so I forfeited my income, and, we were trying to get by on just mostly his income. And my husband's family happens to be amazing. I've known them for years, went to church with them. And turns out that Can I say this? Am I allowed to share this connection?
Yes,
I think it's so cool.
Prudence.
So yeah, Prudence is my husband's cousin. And so we often do family gatherings with them. And I have known Prudence since we were younger at church.
Getting
we
into
pretty
trouble,
much grew up
talking in
together.
the back when they're supposed to be
We
quiet.
didn't do the things like that.
You got in trouble for chewing gum.
Fake news.
He just wanted to push the button.
Yeah. So we were at a Christmas party together. And I had, by that time I had the 2 kids. I had my daughter and my son. And we barely made it to that Christmas party because my son was actually sick. He had a cold. And you were like, bring him anyways. It's fine. We've already had the colds, right? These are different times. Bring him, snot. Who cares? Just bring him. And at that party, we were chit-chatting and Chris was like, hey, Beth, I got a question for you. You know, if you could do anything in the world and you knew you would not fail, what would it be? And I had been mulling this over. I had been writing some blogs. I've been trying to figure out how to make side income. I've been trying to figure out how to use my abilities in different ways that wouldn't take me away from my home and my kids all the time. And I said, well, I would actually start an online fitness site for moms, and I would exercise like in my living room in regular clothes and not yell at them and like not show my private parts while doing this. And you know, I would be like encouraging and I would teach the way I've taught. And I think it would be way better than other people that I won't name right now that were big in the business at the time. And Chris was like, oh, really? You know, I think I could help you with that.
Actually, at first I said I think it's a horrible idea because on YouTube there's lots of free workouts.
You didn't say it was horrible. You said, well, what about YouTube though? I mean, there's already a ton of stuff out there. I said, yeah, it's a jungle. Nobody knows what to look up. And you know, a lot of the stuff is really harmful to women's bodies. Or it's like, my eyes, I need to wash my eyes after you're done doing it. I had actually looked up a really popular instructor just the day before. And it was like every time she bent over, you got way more than an eyeful. And, you know, I'm like, am I getting a workout here or what am I getting? Like, what are you selling? What are we promoting here? Are we promoting fitness?
Or something else.
Or something else? Feels like it's not fitness.
Yes.
Feels like
Partially
feels like
fitness.
you're promoting your latest tummy tuck. It feels like you're promoting your latest lift of whatever the part was lifted. Like you're not actually trying to help me, you're just trying to show off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And believe it or not, a lot of people don't want that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are turned off by that. There's a lot of people out there who don't want to see some person on their screen in their skivvies, as my husband would say, yelling at them, who clearly has never had children, who clearly is not chasing 3 kids around and wiping snotty noses,
Right.
and screaming at them to try harder and
Not relatable.
And if you're not peeing your pants, you're not working hard enough. Most
people, yeah. Most people can't relate to that.
Moms at home with their kids are actually not going to go for that.
Right.
They're going to turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
So, guess what? You were right. Because here it is. So that was that 13 years
That was
ago?
13 years ago.
Whoa. That's crazy. That is actually weird.
Yeah.
13 years.
And then we got together like a few months later and we got Fit2B.us because I had a blog called Fit2B Mama and we toyed with some other names.
But Fit2B.com was not available.
Because it was too expensive,
Yeah.
right? We didn't want to put too much money into it. So we got
Yes.
the .us to start. Now we have the .com too.
Yes. We have the .com now. But what happened is I think we 7 workouts.
Yeah, we started with 7 workouts the first month, and we had 10 members by the end of the month, and we had 40 members. Like,
And how many of them?
after
how
like 2
many
years?
of the 10 members were you related to?
Okay, maybe like 3. And I think like one of them was
30%.
on my dragon boat team, and one of them was like a friend who moved away. But the other 5 were people I didn't even know, so that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's really been amazing to watch because what happened is I was wrong and people really wanted this. They wanted to pay for it because they knew they could trust it. So that was a big deal, was that Beth was trustworthy, knowledgeable, and was relatable, like a real person. And pretty soon, within a few years, we actually had members from over 40 countries and just decided to build e-courses, and it's just been crazy. And now here it is 13 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so there is like an incredible library of information on Fit2B's website.
It's like my whole brain.
And so as we talk about like how this ties into what the Lord would have for us in our bodies, what would you say about that
Yeah.
to the general like believer as far as how we should be taking care of things?
Yeah, I love where you're going with this, Prudence. You mentioned something about it wouldn't be God's design if we fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we were instructed to be fruitful and multiply. And there are so many women nowadays that are having 1 or 2 kids, and then they truly do not feel physically able to have another child.
Right.
Maybe they've had a couple of C-sections, or they have some trauma, or they have things that are still healing. There's a lot of factors that go into this. I just don't think our modern world really supports the things that used to help women heal. We don't live in the same type of a culture. We don't live in smaller communities where if somebody has a baby, there's all these people that
Right.
come around and support her. And
Yeah.
we have to be so intentional about creating that now. And the church often does a good job of being supportive.
Yeah.
But when it comes to fitness and even health in general, I think that the gap, and you alluded to this earlier, and you're like, why isn't this a big deal in churches?
Right.
I believe it's because we believe we're going to heaven. And this world is not my home. I'm just a passing through.
Right.
My
Right.
treasures are laid out
That's
somewhere beyond the blue.
oh man, that's
Right?
taking me way
Yep.
back.
And, so as long as you love Jesus and you love people and, you come to church and you serve, and doesn't matter what you bring to the potluck, right? And we're going to bless that food. We're going to bless that food. So it's that heart attack in a sack is going to miraculously turn into green salad in our veins. Because
Oh my
the Lord is faithful.
Yeah.
But my perspective on that is that we have a lot of believers and Christians around the world who are unable to serve
Yeah.
very well because they are morbidly obese,
Yeah.
because they have such terrible back pain, because they have blown apart cores, because they're not exercising, because they're not eating very well. And that does put some responsibility back on us, and that can be difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
But imagine this little metaphor. So you have Noah and the ark. And if the ark stands for we're all going to heaven, we're all on the ark, right? And God has closed the door, we're all there.
Right.
Okay, so we can stand by the window, or we can be down in the crack of the hold with all the stinky. We can walk laps on the deck. We can shovel, we can help, we can take care of the animals, or we can hide and we can cower, we can
Yeah.
choose to be lazy, we can, twist an ankle and then I can't, or we can go through trauma, but then that trauma doesn't get dealt with and then we get
That's
stuck,
good. That's
right?
so
So sometimes we have a choice, sometimes we don't.
Right.
Sometimes there are injuries that we really struggle to recover from,
Right.
but there are things we can do. And studies show that even a small amount of exercise dramatically benefits our mental health, our
Right.
strength,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
our bone density, and that's going to keep us out of hospitals. It keeps
Yeah.
us from being the load that others have to be carry when we're supposed to be Jesus's hands and feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have responsibility to do our part in doing our best to take care of our bodies.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, it's not just us that loses.
Right.
It's everybody around us.
Right. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the age-old, your body is a temple, right? So you take care of the temple, right? There's people that volunteer hours and hours to take care of a church building. And I'm guilty of this too. I take care of everybody else around me.
Right.
But then, if I don't brush my teeth, I'm going to have much higher dental bills. That cuts into my family's budget. That's,
Right.
so we need to take care of our house. We need to love others. And it says, as we love ourselves, implying that at the same time as we're taking care of others, we're taking care of ourselves. And it doesn't have to look like a chiseled six pack.
Right.
It does not have to look like exercising for 2 hours in a gym.
Right.
We don't have to be extreme. Surgeon General recommends 150 minutes of cumulative exercise in a week.
Mm-hmm.
So 150 minutes total each week for heart health, brain health, mental health, musculoskeletal, cardiovascular, 150 minutes a week. That's 23.5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like, hey, hit the gym, 2 hour, like the Mark Wahlberg workout, gets up at 2:30, does his first 2 hour workout, then like later in the day does another 2 hour workout. That's not what you're saying at all. You're saying make smart
that's privilege.
choices.
That's privilege and good for him. But the reality is most people in this world
Can't do 4 a day.
don't even have running water.
Right. That's right.
So and most people in this world therefore are walking to get places, and a lot of them are actually getting more exercise than people who have privilege and who have all the running water. But God doesn't create things that are unsustainable or unattainable.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So we are able to be nourished and healthy and strong without going to extremes.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I feel like one of the things that I think is pivotal, and for some reason this is missed by a lot, but it's pivotal, is that if we believe that God had some kind of plan and purpose and design and assignment for each one of us. He didn't just like have some spare Legos and decide to whip one of us up. Like he had a plan. Then when we're here on earth, like we want to do that plan. In order to do that plan, we need to take care of ourselves, right? So so for example, let's tie it back to what you're talking about, like with moms. If the plan was to have these, 2 amazing children, but you're not healthy enough to really take care of them, then your plan is like you're not going to be as effective at that plan as you otherwise would be. Or your life gets cut short because you kind of were too cavalier with it, right? But you had an assignment that was really should have been longer.
So we're talking a lot about postpartum, but this isn't just for women that have had babies or are in the middle of pregnancy. And so why don't you speak to that audience?
Which audience?
So the audience beyond those women?
The audience beyond those women. Like, how is Fit2B also for them?
Well, we have a lot of mostly women who buy our memberships, but then it ends up being their family that uses it as well. We have, spouses and children. And, I think about Proverbs 31, which says a lot of things about, this woman that's amazing. Goals, right? One of the verses says that she strengthens her arms for her tasks. That's a deliberate, active voice phrase.
Mm-hmm.
It also speaks to how she cares for her children and the example that she sets.
Right.
And so when a woman starts exercising in her home, her family is going to see that. And sometimes that can be uncomfortable, right? There can be looky-loos like, hey, that stretch, that's a nice stretch. Can you do that stretch a little bit deeper, honey? And that can actually make some women uncomfortable, right? So that can be a barrier. But when the whole family starts exercising together, and it's about being healthy and moving as a family, you've got a family now that is active and capable.
Yeah.
And you've got a family that can now step out and volunteer together as a family. I think about when I was in high school in 1996, there was this big, huge flood in Portland. And these people came into the classroom and were like, hey, we're looking for some kids to help do sandbags in this one area. And I'll never forget how they specifically were saying, okay, boys. And I remember thinking, hey, well, what? No, we're just going to take the boys. But that is a role that young men and boys do play in our community. It's not fake news to say that the male body is truly designed to push bigger loads and lift heavier things.
Like this?
Those are just facts. Yeah, like video games, no. Right? There are chemical, physiological, biological differences. Women can be very, very, very strong, right? We actually possess the strongest muscle, which is the uterus.
Oh, I thought you were going to say tongue.
The tongue is the strongest muscle between both sexes, but the uterus is the strongest muscle overall. It's got to be.
You hear that, guys?
Yeah. So, but I thought about that as you were asking your question, just in terms of how does this apply? Because we can quickly pigeonhole certain people into certain roles and tasks, but the reality is that fitness is for everybody.
Yeah.
And
that's so good.
and you know, as a call out to the men who are working but just coming home and sitting down.
Yeah.
And not taking your families on hikes, not taking your families to volunteer and serve in physical ways. I would just encourage you to look at that as one more area where you can take the lead in your family.
Right.
Because it will dramatically impact their mental health, their physical strength.
Yeah.
And also your connection as a family, the conversations you can have. And Chris, you're really good at this. You are excellent at getting your family out to do stuff together. And it's amazing. I am actually the one in my family that does a lot of that pushing. My husband is an amazing guy, but he wasn't raised in a family where going and doing stuff was the priority.
And he's out.
And he works a very, very physical job. So he comes home and is like,
yeah, I don't want to go out for some physical.
Like he is not lazy, but he'll back me up when I'm like, hey, let's go do this.
Yeah.
He will do that. And I appreciate that. So whether you or your wife, guys, is the initiator of, hey, let's go do something fun, hiking, paddleboarding, swimming, camping, whatever the outdoor activity is, either support it or start it because it makes a huge difference. And studies show that exercising regularly, even in small doses, but especially exercising outside, improves mental health at better rates than any medication on the market.
Yeah, I want to push into that for a second because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, like I'm just not, I don't care, like I'm very academic. So talk for a moment about the tie between fitness and mental clarity, mental ability, and focus and things like that.
So your brain needs movement. It just does. Technically, though, your gut, they found that your gut actually contains twice as many neurons, which we think of as being brain cells.
Right.
But your gut contains twice as many neurons as the brain does. And we also know that the gut therefore sends twice as many outbound signals as the brain does. Your gut, your internal, so we talk about your heart, loving the Lord your God with all your heart. Some early translations actually said the gut, like your even your bowels, like love the Lord your God with
all your bowels.
Like really, it's the author was saying your most internal important parts.
Right.
Okay. So, because those things really do signal to the rest of it. And when we move, all of that stuff gets squished around. It sends signals. Your digestion improves. Your mental clarity improves. That's the word Chris used, because you start using both sides of your brain. We just filmed a ball tossing routine because of some research that I came across that discussed how the rapid eye movement of taking a walk outside or tossing a ball immediately resets the brain when things like depression and anxiety are happening. So we also know that standing upside down, just putting your head on the ground, trying to do a handstand against a wall. Be careful if you've never done that. Like, I'm not saying you should just go do a handstand if you've never tried that. But, inversions, anything that gets your head below your heart is going to send a rush of circulation. We say that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and then we don't act like it as Christians. We don't look at the amazing design of the human body and dare to think for a moment that if this is how God designed us, and if exercise can help us feel better, and we don't need other things necessarily. I'm not saying quit your medication if anybody's out there. I'm not saying to do that, okay? But I am saying if you add exercise, you may see even better results.
Yep.
And that's God's design.
Yeah. Come on.
Right? So I don't ever want to say that if you can't move, you're not worthy.
Right.
If you're overweight, you're not a child of God. We are not going there, right? But what can you do to take better care of yourself so that you can glorify God in your body and minister and serve in better ways so that you can have a better quality of life.
Right.
And that's God's design.
So I feel like what you're saying is the way that you are physically and your weight and all those things that the world pays a lot of attention to, you're not saying that has anything to do with your identity. It's kind of the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. Because you're a child of God, you really should take more care and pay more attention to and stewardship of the body that he's given you. That's what I hear you saying. Yeah. So like if you aren't where you want to be physically or fitness wise, then that's not a reflection on your identity. It could be a reflection on your stewardship of what you've been given. So you need to pay attention to that. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean you're a loser. It means because you're not a loser, you need to take care of yourself is kind of what I hear you saying.
Mm-hmm. You know, we have pet sins that we are quick to condemn in the church. But then there's other sins listed, and one of them is gluttony, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't like to talk about that.
And something. It's like fairly severe.
The way that so I mean, gluttony is one of those sins. There are people though who are not eating very much at all, who still struggle to gain weight. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, the science says you need to eat more. Mm-hmm. You're depriving yourself and you're trying to control things, and you're not eating enough. Mm-hmm. You're not trusting the Lord. You're not taking what he has provided to you and nourishing yourself. Yeah. So there's just some really interesting paradoxes in my field that I would love to see people in the church pay better attention to, because there's so much power and beauty that could be unleashed. For example, I am part of a church, and I'm not part of this particular program, but I'm part of a church where there is an exercise program. Mm-hmm. It was already there when I got there. They see it as an outreach tool.
Right. That's so cool.
Somebody might not come to church, but they might come for a fitness class.
They might come to a class, yeah.
And maybe they pray afterward, and then they get comfortable in that space, and they meet the people, and hey, these people aren't too weird.
Right.
And they get invited to church. I just think we need to step back and just take a look
that's so
at
good.
how we are looking at fitness and how we are looking at nutrition. And I'm not saying to get rid of the potlucks and only have salad bars, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all.
Yes, you definitely need the potlucks.
Yeah, we are a potluck church where I come. I mean, we have all the potlucks. I go to a church that specializes in recovery. We minister to recovering addicts. A lot of them have had no food for a long time. They've been living on meth and alcohol and heroin.
Right.
So when they get clean and sober, they eat.
Yep.
And they gain weight. And that is a good thing. We want to see that.
For sure, yeah.
And they worry because, they look like the runway models when they have been in their addiction. Yes. And they're worried about gaining weight because the world says don't gain weight. But I'm telling you, some of the healthiest people I know.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Don't look scrawny. So this is not about looking a certain way. This is about being confident and powerful and strong in the skin that God made you in, to go out and do an even better job of fulfilling the purpose that he gave you.
Yeah, that's so good.
All right. So one thing that I really dislike is going to the gym. Driving, walking in the doors.
Yeah.
And if you have kids, checking them into childcare.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
The whole thing, not necessarily the exercise part. I can, I'm there for a purpose. But Fit2B actually, removes
almost all of those barriers, except for the exercise. Yeah. You still have to do the exercise.
So and
I don't think that I'm alone in this feeling. I'm guessing that there's probably lots of women that are like, no, I'm not doing that.
Or men
too.
So
for that reason,
men too.
For that reason, I'm not working out or exercising. So no more excuse, right?
Right. Right. And I have worked in gyms. I have had memberships at gyms, even at the same time as I have had Fit2B. I don't currently. I haven't had a gym membership in several years. To me, it's like a huge playground. because I have a degree and I love this stuff. So I walk in and I'm like, oh, there's that and there's that. And I don't have that at home. I'm going to go try that. And I could care less what other people think of me. But there are people, though, that do make you uncomfortable. And being able to exercise at home does remove the gas money, the time it takes to travel, the having to change into clothes. Look, I work out in my pajamas most of the time, which makes it really hard to make Instagram reels for my business. People want to see like this polished, what they see in our actual filmed workouts. And I'm like, yo, here I am in my slippers and PJs practicing this kettlebell workout.
And your son walks through with his sleepy eyes on, headed to get some cereal.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's making it accessible. The reality, again, is that most people are exercising at home. Really.
Yeah.
Most people don't have a gym membership. A lot of people can't afford one. So I have had a lot of fun over the years finding small pieces of affordable equipment that other people are likely to get. Like I make a point of trying to find things at garage sales.
Right.
I make a point of using canned food sometimes in a workout.
Whole weight lifting workouts that are canned food and things. I
did a whole weird weights routine where we used a jar of rocks and some old-fashioned window weights. And what else? It was a log. Stuff. I used like a piece of firewood.
Right.
And just showed, hey, here's the same set of exercises and here's how you can use all of these weird objects and still get a great workout.
Right.
So I love erasing barriers.
Yeah, come on.
And that's what Jesus does, right? So if we as the church also become a place of erasing barriers when it comes to bodies, and what that looks like, though, is helping people get stronger. Because the stronger they are, the lower the barriers get.
That's right.
So, so we need education on how our bodies work and function and what we're doing that's hurting it. And you do a lot of teaching on that.
Yeah.
There's
I'll let you speak to this, Beth, but there's incredible resources, e-courses, podcasts, in addition to hundreds of workouts. And so anyways, not to just like plug the service, but it's like super valuable from an education standpoint, like you were talking about.
So what would you say, Beth, to the men out there that are like, oh, I don't want to pay for Fit2B for my wife or whatever. She can just do whatever.
That's a dangerous question to ask Beth.
Dangerous question.
She's not going to be happy about that.
But, speak to him about what his wife needs.
And don't be too mean.
Can I get a little PG-13?
Go for it.
Is this that kind of show?
Yes.
I mean, how clean do I need to keep this?
Fairly clean.
Okay. All right. Well, the Lord made us, right? So I can be clear. And the Lord made sex. Right? And that's a good thing, especially in a marriage. If your wife is falling apart, she's not going to want that. If your wife has a strong core and pelvic floor, it's going to be a lot better.
Yes.
Do I need to...
He's hitting the chair button. I'm taking that away.
Your wife is, having the babies and doing all the things and wants to be there, wants to support, wants to love. But if things are painful and things have fallen apart, if there's scar tissue, if there's weakness, if there's instability, then there's going to be shame and there's going to be embarrassment and there's going to be more pain. And you don't want to be the one that perpetuates that.
That's right.
And really, if there's all that going on, she should be seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist who will prescribe a lot of the same stuff that I do in my basic videos, but they're going to do it at a professional level that is so much higher.
Yeah, and control.
And and it is such an amazing service, and you will get your wife back. And that, what's that worth? What's that worth? I mean, if something was going on wrong with your stuff and your stuff was not working, what would that be worth to you to fix? Things are even more complex.
Yes.
For females, especially after having children. And you can grow old with somebody who is constantly hiding and hunching and embarrassed and afraid to go out and do things because of all of her issues and afraid to be with you 100% in that beautiful way. that happens when everybody is fully yielding and fully self-sacrificing and fully serving each other, that really is a beautiful thing in marriage. That can happen where both parties are there for each other with no shame and no pain. And that can happen this side of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the design is for that to heal and take place.
Right.
And there are all these amazing healers out there that know how to help her to get to that point again in literally a matter of months.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you can't put a price tag on that, because that's the woman you're going to grow old with. And you get her confident and walking tall and ready to have fun now. It's going to be a lot better marriage down the road.
Yeah, that's so good. So
hopefully that was PG-13 enough.
That was great.
I mean, my son is literally behind the camera, so
yeah, he's been
not making eye contact, but he's good.
So as we kind of wrap this up, what encouragement would you give people that maybe haven't really thought of fitness as something that's important as it relates to their assignment from the Lord, like the purpose that they're here? They really had never connected those dots. I feel like most people haven't, actually. And they're kind of hearing this and like, oh, I really need to pay attention to this?
Yeah. And also, to stack on top of that, how does Fit2B differentiate from other options out there?
Yeah, do Prudence question first, and then
why would somebody want to come to this over the big
P90X?
Yeah, or CrossFit type
Daily
things and stuff like. How would you speak to that?
Well, I would say, number one, we're very family friendly. In fact, this right here is an outfit that I wore for this last filming. And my goal is not to show off what I can do, but to help you see what you're capable of doing.
Right.
And that means that it's a totally different presentation than other companies out there that are literally trying to shred you apart into a puddle.
Right.
Stated
goal.
Yeah, stated goal. Yeah. I mean, CrossFit got a lot of flack several years ago because they were telling people that if you're not leaving a puddle on the floor, that's not sweat, that you're not working hard enough.
Yes. And
there was an uproar from pelvic therapists worldwide because they're like, you can't tell people that. Right. That will literally damage people.
In case you're not getting this, she's saying that unless you pee your pants, you're not getting a good enough workout.
Right.
Yeah.
But just to be even more clear than that, if you are leaking anything more than sweat during a workout, then something's not right. Muscles are not coordinating correctly, and there is treatment for that. And it doesn't have to be like that. Right, and it is fixable and treatable. And it's not normal, and it's not healthy, and it doesn't get better. It tends to get worse. And this is why the adult diaper industry is making billions. So, your fitness is a good responsibility because there are so many people profiting off of our lack of education and lack of knowledge and lack of making that connection that our wellness and fitness dramatically impacts our world. So, we talk about, small world example. Do I have time for this? Can I give a small world example?
3 minutes and 20.
Oh, it'll be way shorter than that.
3 minutes.
So, I work in children's ministry at my church. And, these mamas are amazing. And if they are on top of it and they are strong, they can chase those kids down and they can pick them up. And those kids, I can immediately see the benefit to that. Those kids also know if their mamas are not going to chase them. Right?
Yep. Let's get real.
The mama does not have the energy. The mama does not have the strength or the endurance or the stamina to go chase them. And those kids will run. And we've had kids run out in the parking lot. That's an immediate danger.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not trying to put the burden fully on moms. Like the whole community will jump in. We'll go catch that kid. Okay, we're there. Right. But that scales out to all these other different relationships.
Yeah, it's so good.
As Christians, we, again, need to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Yeah. We need to be the ones that are ready to go catch somebody else's kid
Yeah.
We need to be the one who runs to help the prodigal that's coming back. There are so many examples in scripture about fitness and exercise, especially if you just do a word search on whatever your Bible app is for run or walk or strength. And also, even if you look it up as heart, I did that once.
Yeah.
There are so many verses about the heart. The heart is a very physical thing,
Oh, yeah.
but it's also a very spiritual thing.
Right.
So, the brain, the heart can live without the brain. The brain cannot live without the heart.
Right. That's right.
The brain has to have blood flow.
Right.
A heart can pump without the brain.
Right. Yeah. Never thought of it.
So, have some fun looking in your Bibles and just think of some fitness words. Lift, walk, run, push, press. Those actions are all over scripture. And when you look at them in light of fitness, you start to see some different things.
Come on. That is awesome. That's fantastic. Real quick, 30 seconds. What's your advice to people that have not ever thought of fitness as important to their assignment? Just, I know some people are like, I kind of feel like I thought this was going to be easy when it was about fitness, but I feel like I'm supposed to do something. What do you say to them?
I say do something small. Think about the last time you had a good time doing some type of physical activity. Like, was it ice skating? Was it going for a hike? Was it stand-up paddleboarding? Whatever it was, having a pillow fight with your kids, dancing to your favorite music. Do that. Figure out a way to do that again. Also, think of something that you would like to try that's physical.
Yeah.
Think of something new, kickboxing, jujitsu, stand-up paddleboarding. That happens to be one of my favorite things.
Yes.
Pilates. And, go sign up for lessons or go do whatever you need to do. Go try that thing.
Yeah.
Just take that next right step. And while you're doing it, just thank Jesus for this body.
Yeah, come on.
Be thankful that you have the ability to do that thing, even if it's small, because every little thing matters.
Yes. That's so good. So Beth, I don't know if you guys caught this, but you literally just filmed like 6 workouts, or was it 7? 7 workouts. And so thank you for taking time to be on this TV program after doing 7 workouts. But no, this has been fantastic. Where can people find more information about what you're doing and the website and the Instagram and all that stuff?
So you can find us at Fit2B. That's FIT, the number 2, the letter B, .us, like our original URL. Also the .com, so fit2b.com. And I'm on Instagram, Fit2B Studio, all one word. Twitter, Fit2B. Facebook, Fit2B Tummy Safe Fitness. We got to get the whole explanation in there.
Yes.
And we put out a lot of content on all those platforms, and we're very responsive. So if you have questions or comments, you want some direction, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic set of resources, tons of things to learn about that you might be surprised about, in addition to all the workouts. So I would highly encourage you guys to check that stuff out. It's amazing. And Beth, again, it's been fantastic. Thank you for putting this effort in to do this TV program after doing a full day of filming. It's been awesome. Prudence and I very much appreciate it. And we will see you guys on the next one.
Yes.
See you around.